Hey everyone, it's Miranda. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hey, for the first time, why don't you subscribe, become the newest member of the Slashed Squad. Here I review products you won't feel guilty buying and do looks you can actually recreate at home. Today I thought I would just do a get ready with me, just kind of wanted to do something a little relaxed, get some fall vibes going here on the channel, and I also wanted to kind of chit chat with you about some stuff that has been floating around the beauty community lately. Oh no, not another one of those videos. No, we're just gonna be chill here. I just kind of wanted to share with you some stuff that's been on my mind and a little bit of like behind the scenes of the beauty community. So I might not be necessarily really talking you through the makeup look I'm doing, but everything will be listed below in terms of products. They are affiliate links. I get commission if you buy the products after clicking that link. I'm gonna put my hair back. All right, so if you've been kind of in tune with the beauty community in the recent weeks, there's been a lot of chatter kind of about more the money side of things. You know, as much as we all love consuming content, watching tutorials and watching reviews, for a lot of us this is our job, including myself. So I just kind of want to take it back and share with you a little bit about my background, because some of you know it, some of you don't. Basically, makeup has been a hobby of mine since high school. It was always something I was super interested in. I would do my friends' makeup, I'd do it for dances and birthdays and whatnot. And in general, I just really enjoyed doing my makeup. I'd wake up like 2 hours before school to just play around with it and kind of figure out my look for the day. And a little fun fact, I've actually been on YouTube since 2006. And I had 2 channels before this one. My previous one, which you can still find if you look hard enough, was actually my singing YouTube, because that is what I wanted to do as my career. I really wanted to be a singer, and that's what I worked towards all throughout high school, and I used my YouTube to kind of, you know, practice and share my voice with random people on the internet. Before that, even in 2006, like middle school through the beginning of high school, I had another channel, and that was a little bit more creative. Like I did skits with my friends, and I did like homemade music videos, and that was super fun as well. I really wish that that one was still here on the platform, but I deleted it after being, I don't want to say bullied. Bullied is a strong word, but I had a lot of people just kind of poking fun at it when I got to about my sophomore year of high school, and I just didn't really want to call attention to myself in that way. So I ended up deleting it and then just focusing on the music YouTube. And when I got to college, I was getting even more into beauty, and while I was kind of keeping up my music YouTube, it wasn't as frequently, because obviously like you're in college and you don't have a lot of time for that kind of stuff. Around this time, I just started getting more obsessed with beauty videos and tutorials on YouTube. But being in college, I couldn't afford a lot of the stuff that my favorite gurus were mentioning and using, because I had to spend my money on books and food and whatnot, and I couldn't really splurge at Sephora anymore like I used to when I had an allowance. And that's where the idea for this blog and YouTube channel of mine came from, because not too many people were giving a lot of attention to drugstore products and, you know, saving money while still keeping up with beauty trends. So that was my goal, and still is my goal with this channel, is to, you know, highlight products that work really well, that are affordable and accessible. And so Slash Beauty was born in 2012 on the floor of my dorm room in freshman year of college. And that summer I continued to make my first YouTube videos on the floor of Adam's fraternity bedroom. Slash Beauty became a hobby of mine. It was something that I did just every so often. It started out as a Tumblr, and then I, you know, started doing videos, and then eventually I like bought my own blog URL and everything. It really did just start out of the passion of wanting to share information that I thought other people could use. And, you know, like I said, it wasn't something I took super seriously. It was just something I did for fun on the side when I had the time. Now, things took a little bit of a turn when I entered a contest with Allure magazine. They had beauty blogger contest, beauty blogger of the year, and they don't do it anymore. I don't think. I actually think my year might have been the last year they did it. But basically a bunch of bloggers would apply, and then they'd pick a top 10, which I was in for my year, which was 2014. And then they would give us a bunch of blogging or vlogging challenges, and then people would vote on their favorite content. So my year, I was not only third place, but also I was voted most buzzworthy, which meant I was kind of like the up-and-comer blogger to watch person. And after that happened, I was featured on their website, I was featured in their magazine, and that's when like brands started reaching out to me, and I started getting on PR lists, and you know, I kind of saw the potential of what Slashed Beauty could be. At this time, I had just quit my job at Kohl's, and I was working in digital marketing, and I was still getting my degree in communications. So I was in school full-time, working part-time, and then I was just blogging on the weekends. And when the Allure thing happened, that had been 2 years after I started my blog. So I had been blogging and doing videos just purely out of enjoyment and for free for 2 years. And that's just something I want to highlight because, you know, a lot of people think that they can just start their YouTube and they're going to get paid tomorrow, or they're going to suddenly be on PR lists, but it takes a lot of work and it takes passion. It takes you actually wanting to do this, because you're going to do it for a while before you get recognized by brands and paid by brands. Fast forward another 2 years. It's 2016, and I've started taking sponsorships for my blogs, taking sponsorships for my YouTube channel, but mostly for my blog. My blog was making more money than my YouTube channel. There were more eyes on it at that time, so I was getting really decent traffic, and my social following was growing. And the ways that I were making money were clickable ads, so like at the top of a page, like on my website, that you see affiliate links, so when someone clicks the link and then buys something, I'd get commission. And then I was starting to get pretty good sponsorship deals. You know, they started out here or there, just, you know, not super big amounts of money, but then, you know, it started to grow and add up the more opportunities that I took. And by 2016, I had been working with a few agencies, like brand agencies, that were using me regularly for different opportunities. And I had a pretty good stream of income coming in just from my blog. I also started taking some on-camera opportunities from brands. I've done, you know, digital video campaigns for brands like Tresemme and Suave. So like I said, 2016, it got to a point where I was having to ask for time off of my job to work on different campaigns, whether I had to be on set for something or I just needed the time to really dedicate daylight to blogging or making videos. And my boss knew about Slashed Beauty, and he was so super supportive. I could not have asked for a better situation, because he was always very understanding. As long as I got my work done and, you know, things were handled, he was pretty chill with me taking early days off or taking days off in general, working from home, whatever I needed. But it got to a point where I was asking a little too much, and even I recognized it, because I started getting like nervous about asking him, and he was like such a chill person. But the fact of the matter was, I was making more for 1 day of work doing something in the beauty industry, whether it was being on set or just being at home working on a post that was going to pay me. I was making more doing that than 1 day at my desk job. So by this point, I had actually saved up quite a bit of money. And I had had discussions with Adam, I had had discussions with my mom about, you know, going full time, and is this something that I want to pursue? Because, you know, it was definitely a dream of mine to be able to do something that I love, something that I'm passionate about as my job. But it's scary, because something like this, especially as a micro influencer, which I was and still I am, it's not steady income. Like, you don't have a guaranteed check at the end of the day, no matter, you know, if you show up for work or not. And even if you are getting paid at the end of the month, it's not always going to be the same amount of money. So it was something that I was definitely worried about. But I came to the decision, I was like, if I'm going to do this at any time, it has to be now, because I was experiencing enough success to pay my bills and then some and save. And, you know, you never really know where all of this is going to go. You never know what social platforms are gonna be next or still there in a few years. And you know, you just can't predict that kind of stuff with the technology evolving. So I was like, I just have to take advantage of this now. So in May of 2016, I walked away from my desk job and started doing influencing full time. I was getting paid enough that I didn't even need to go into my savings. I was able to pay my bills with what I was making monthly from sponsorships and ads and affiliate links. And it was freaking amazing. It is freaking amazing. I really would not trade this for the world. As long as I can pay my bills and be comfortable and eat, like, this is what I want to do. So that is basically my full background of getting into this industry. Now, recently, there's been a lot of, like, I don't want to say upset, outrage, I don't know what the right word is, but basically there have been numbers that have been thrown around in terms of like how much certain influencers are charging for reviews, how much certain influencers are charging for negative reviews of like a competing product. To be honest, I haven't been following the tea close enough to, you know, name names and give you specifics. So if you're interested in that, go to a tea channel. But I'm just here to kind of give a micro influencer's perspective, because here's the thing. People are throwing out numbers that are like 60 grand, 100 grand. That's the exception. It's not the norm, but it's definitely created an air of distrust for everyone. This hurts all influencers, this type of negativity and this type of suspicion. And I guess the underlying question now is, how can you trust an influencer giving their opinion about a product when there's money involved? And that's difficult because, you know, clearly influencers have an agenda. I'm not blaming people for being suspicious of influencers who make money. I do kind of want to shed some light though on how sponsorships work, at least the ones that I do. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that never in my career as an influencer, however short it may be, have I been hired to specifically say good things about a product. Sponsorships with reputable brands are never money just being exchanged to say a glowing review. Usually when an influencer takes on a sponsorship, you get kind of like a fact sheet, and it's got all the information about a product that a brand would like to be relayed in a video. But this isn't opinion-based statements. These are things like, you know, this product is supposed to last up to X hours. This product is made with this in its formula, which is supposed to benefit XYZ. You know, like brand messaging that they feel makes the product good. But these are all things that would be stated in any other ad. It's not anything that's like, my opinion about this is, you know. And then from there, an influencer in theory would take the time to test the product and, you know, come up with their own conclusions and then talk about it on their channel. Now, just a little insight about how I work and how I operate my influencing business. Clearly, I get a lot of PR, free product that does not have money attached. It's just sent to me in the hopes that I will mention it for free on my channel if I really like it, which a lot of times I will. But if a brand does want me to, you know, make a video or a blog post within a certain time frame, if they want me to use specific tracking links, even if they aren't affiliate, basically if they want a guarantee that I will talk about their product on my social media platforms, that is what would require a sponsorship fee from me. So typically it's not like, we want you to post a good review about this product, it's we want you to talk about this product, period, and know that it's gonna be up there live. And you're probably thinking, okay, that's fine, but if you're being paid, aren't you obviously going to say something positive in hopes that, you know, they'll work with you again, etc.? It's a fair thing to assume. I'm not gonna fault anybody for thinking that. At that point though, you're just gonna have to take what people say with a grain of salt and choose the influencers that you trust. And, you know, who have you been watching for a while? Or if you just started watching someone, you know, take a deep dive into some of their other videos. Do you agree with some of the stuff that they're saying about products that you already know about? What's the ratio of sponsored to non-sponsored content? In the few years that I've been doing this now, there have been sponsorships that I've accepted and then had to turn down after using a product because it didn't work for me. In fact, last year about this time, I did a Halloween makeup tutorial and it never went live because it was a sponsorship with a brand or a store, and the product that I used stained my skin after I was done with the tutorial. And so we ended up just scrapping the whole thing. There was another sponsorship for my blog on an acne treatment. I was supposed to talk about it and then like 3 months later update everybody on how it was working. Well, 3 months went by and I still had a lot of acne and it just was not working. And so we canceled that sponsorship too. And when things like that happen, sometimes a brand will pay in full because, you know, you've done your part or you've done your best at, you know, trying to fulfill your part. Sometimes they'll pay you half, or like if you haven't really done any work yet and you were just testing the product, then you can just walk away from it and just say, you know, no hard feelings. Another reason why I've turned down some sponsorships in the past has been an issue with exclusivity. So sometimes brands want you to talk about their product, but they also don't want you to talk about a competing product for a certain amount of time. So that way it's like when someone's looking for information, they just see their product. This can be kind of tricky, especially with my platforms, because I focus on drugstore beauty. So sometimes if a brand is like, don't talk about any other drugstore product for X amount of time, I'm like, I can't do that because that's my whole channel. If it's a little bit more specific, if it's like, don't talk about another drugstore concealer for a week, then that's easy. But if it's something that I feel like is gonna end up doing a disservice to my audience, then I can't do it. So back to the question of how you can trust influencers when money is involved. One thing that I always look for to kind of determine if an influencer is trustworthy or not is if they are disclosing. Are they saying verbally in the video, I've partnered with the brand, this is a sponsored post? Are they putting it in the description? Are they saying in the description affiliate links? Believe it or not, that's the actual law. If you are making money in any way, shape, or form, or if you got a product for free, it needs to be disclosed. There are still a lot of people who don't do that, and that sucks because it just heightens the suspicion for everyone else. But yes, if you've gotten a product for free, you're supposed to say it in the description. That's why I always say like PR sample, if there was a PR sample mentioned in the video. If there are affiliate links, you have to say affiliate links. If it's sponsored, you have to say it. So if an influencer does take the time to disclose for all their videos, then that is like a good point towards them, I guess. The other thing you can do is, you know, watch more reviews of the same product. Is what they're saying pretty, you know, in line with the general consensus, or is everyone saying a product sucks and they're like, oh my God, it's so amazing? Now with that, obviously there is the issue of, you know, everyone's different, everyone has different preferences, different skin types, products work differently on different people, but you can generally get an idea if everyone says they are having the same problem with a product and maybe they've just kind of glossed over it in their video, then. But those are basically the ways that I kind of choose the influencers that I personally trust myself. And the thing is, you know, there's a lot of people who are saying, I wish it was like the old days where everyone was just sharing because they wanted to and no one was getting paid. But the fact of the matter is that if it were like that, you wouldn't have as much content on this platform as there is, and as much quality content at that. Because the fact that it's turned into an industry has really, you know, elevated it for everybody, for your experience, for our freedom to deliver this content to you. So if you were to take anything away from this video and all my ramblings, one, the numbers that you're seeing in the media right now and in the tea videos are not normal. That is the 1% numbers. As for the rest of us who may not make as much, but we are making a living off of this, please realize that sponsorships aren't always necessarily money exchange for glowing reviews, and know the signs to spot trustworthy influencers. I tend to give a lot of my trust towards influencers who have been on the platform for a long time versus people who've kind of blown up really quickly. Not to say though those people are less trustworthy, but I'm just saying, you know, there's a whole generation of beauty vloggers who are still here and may not be as popular as the 1%, but they started at a time where this wasn't an industry. This wasn't a job. And even if they're doing it as their job now, you know, it came from a good place. But yeah, always check for disclosures. If the review seems a little too glowing, check out some other reviews of the product. But at the end of the day, you're gonna trust who you trust. It's gonna be the influencers that you've been watching for a while, or maybe new influencers that you're binge watching that you really agree with things that they're saying. The point is to just be a conscious consumer and know that there is money in this industry, and if something seems suspicious, do your part in, you know, kind of getting a different point of view. But even with all of this craziness going on right now, I am so grateful to have this be my job. And this being my job is literally because of you right there watching. And honestly, you all fuel this community and this industry. You are what makes it monetizable. Because if you weren't watching, brands wouldn't be paying to basically place ads within videos. I mean, personally, I don't even really watch traditional TV that much anymore, besides like the Bachelor franchise and Grey's Anatomy. Everything else is either streaming services or YouTube. I come to YouTube first when I want to be entertained. And what's funny is that, you know, influencers are getting questioned and accused, etc. But traditional media, this type of work, this type of product placement, this type of ambassadorship has been going on in traditional media for years. But because it's what everyone's used to, no one really said anything about it. Like, you don't think that the products mentioned in magazines were received free by the editors? Meanwhile, they still aren't disclosing PR samples, so... And what about when you're watching like a news broadcast and they have like a flash beauty moment and you have some kind of expert coming on talking about different products that you can try for the fall? Sometimes they're purely doing it for the exposure of, you know, whatever they do. And other times, the brands are paying them to mention that product in that segment. So I don't know, that's why I find it weird when people complain about influencers making money and sharing products that they're being paid to share, because it's like, this is how it's been for a while. This is just a new platform it's happening on. So when I'm taking a sponsorship, typically like my ideal situation is when it's a brand that I'm already a fan of, that I've already talked about, so it fits in really well with my content, and I'm already a fan of whatever they want to promote. But if it's like a new product, I require time for me to test that. Sometimes there are sponsored posts where they're like, okay, can you post about this next week? And I'm like, how, you know, if it's a skincare product, like no, because I won't be able to tell if it works. If it's a product I've never tried before, I typically ask for 2 weeks for makeup and up to a month for skincare to test out stuff. It's important to me when I personally accept sponsorships that I have enough time to test a product if it's something I'm unfamiliar with or a brand that I'm unfamiliar with. And if the product doesn't end up working for me, you know, I have a conversation with the brand. Do we walk away from this? Do I reframe this in like, this didn't work for me, but it might work for this type of person with this type of skin? Or do we just change the product I'm talking about, and then we can still at least talk about the brand, you know? That's how I deal with the situation when I end up with a contract for promoting a product that I'm not necessarily 100% on board with. So that's it. I'm done with my makeup, and I'm gonna be super glam for my dentist appointment later. I know this was super rambly. I don't even know if I really made any one clear point across, but those are just the things that have been on my mind with all of the discussions about the beauty industry and the beauty community. The best thing you can do is hope that the influencers that you are watching will not just shill products to you for money, and that the influencers you watch prioritize the audience first and then sponsorships, because without the audience there wouldn't be sponsorships, and you need that trust, you need that loyalty, and you just need that connection. So that was that. This is my fall look. If you like chatty get ready with me's, maybe I'll do some more. Hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button. Become the newest member of the Slashed Squad. If you've done that, high five, but have you hit the bell icon so you know every time a new video goes live? The YouTube algorithm plays a big part in what influencers you see in your subscription page, on your home page, which ones get the attention. So hit the bell icon so that way YouTube knows you want to see more from me. I'll see you in my next one. Bye!